Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are going to completely shift the way you think about progress and success. We're unpacking the absolutely groundbreaking framework from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Together, we're going to discover exactly how tiny everyday routines actually compound into extraordinary life changes. Seriously, if you've ever felt stuck in a rut, this is exactly what you need. So let's dive right in. We have all been there, right? Feeling that deep, heavy frustration of setting a massive, life-altering goal, maybe it's completely overhauling your daily schedule, only to just fall right back into your old patterns a few weeks later. You try so incredibly hard, you rely on pure willpower, and yet, those bad habits just creep right back in. Why does this happen? Well, it turns out the problem isn't you at all. The problem is your system. To fix this once and for all, we're going to break this framework down into 6 core areas: the power of tiny changes, systems over goals, identity as the core of change, the 4 laws of behavior change, making it easy to start, and finally, the secret to lasting success. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the power of tiny changes. Habits are literally the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. A tiny 1% improvement each day seems incredibly insignificant at first, right? Like if you read just 1 page or drink 1 extra glass of water, it really doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere. But it multiplies into remarkable results over time. Over a single year, those daily 1% gains compound to make you 37 times better by the time you're done. 37 times. But here's where it gets tricky, and it introduces a concept called the valley of disappointment. When we start a new habit, we kind of expect progress to happen in this straight, upward line. But reality just doesn't work like that. There's a delayed reaction. For the first few days, weeks, or even months, your small changes don't seem to yield any tangible results at all, and you fall right into this valley of disappointment. This is exactly where most people throw in the towel. But to succeed, you absolutely must persist long enough to cross what's known as the plateau of latent potential. Think about an ice cube sitting on a table in a really cold room that's 25 degrees. Now you slowly heat the room. 26, 27, 28, nothing happens. The ice cube just sits there. 29, 30, 31, still absolutely nothing. But then it hits exactly 32 degrees and the ice begins to melt. Your previous efforts weren't wasted at all. They were literally just being stored up for that breakthrough. When people finally see your big moment, they're going to call it an overnight success, but you'll know it was all that hidden work you did when it seemed like nothing was happening. Moving right into Section 2, systems over goals. We've basically been programmed our entire lives to just set goals. But goals actually suffer from a major blind spot. Think about it. Every single athlete at a competition wants to win first place. The winners and the losers have the exact same goal. So the goal clearly isn't what makes the difference. It's the people who design better daily systems, the actual processes and routines they follow every single day, who end up succeeding. The goal is just to win the game, but the system is how you practice. If you want better results, seriously, forget about setting goals and focus entirely on your systems. Build the right system and the score will completely take care of itself. Which brings us to Section 3, identity, the core of change. When most of us try to change, we fixate on what we want to get. That's an outcome-based habit. But true permanent behavior change is actually identity change. Instead of focusing on the outcome, like, I want to read a book, focus on the identity. I want to become a reader. The goal isn't to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. You have to focus on who you become, not what you get. Because once your habits become a part of your core identity, you don't even have to force yourself to do them anymore. You're simply acting in complete alignment with the person you already believe yourself to be. So how on earth do you actually change your identity? Well, you don't do it overnight. Your identity actually emerges organically right out of your daily habits. By simply performing a small good habit, like a brief session of prayer, dedicating just 5 minutes to reading, or consistently drinking a healthy amount of water, you're basically casting a vote that proves your new identity to yourself. No single instance is going to magically transform your beliefs, but as those little votes build up over time, the evidence of your new identity becomes completely undeniable. All right, let's jump to Section 4, the 4 laws explained. Every single habit you have, whether it's good or bad, runs on a 4-step psychological loop. First, there's a cue, a trigger in your environment. That cue creates a craving, which is a motivational desire to change how you feel. That desire motivates a response, which is the actual habit you perform. And finally, that response delivers a satisfying reward, which teaches your brain to repeat the whole cycle. This is literally the endless loop running in the background of your entire life. And by acting as levers on this exact loop, we can take total control. If you want to build a good habit, you just apply the 4 laws. Make the cue obvious, make the craving attractive, make the response easy, and make the reward satisfying. And what if you want to break a bad habit? You just invert those exact same rules. Make the cue invisible by getting it out of your environment. Make it unattractive. Make the action incredibly difficult to perform, and make the result completely unsatisfying. It's a remarkably practical framework. That leads us perfectly into Section 5, make it easy to start. So, practically speaking, how do we actually apply these laws in our chaotic daily lives? The secret is leveraging that 3rd law, making it easy to just drastically reduce friction. There's a really powerful tool for this called habit stacking. It's a brilliant way to make a new habit obvious and easy by basically piggybacking it onto something you already do automatically every single day. The formula is so simple. After I do my current habit, I will do my new habit. Because your brain already has established neural pathways for things like coming home from work, attaching a tiny new habit gives you built-in momentum. For example, after I take off my work shoes, I will instantly put on my workout clothes. And that brings us to the famous 2-minute rule. Look, when you dream of making a huge change, excitement completely takes over, and you try to do way too much, way too soon. The 2-minute rule says that when you start a new habit, it must take less than 2 minutes to do. Reading before bed becomes reading just 1 page. Doing 30 minutes of exercise becomes just tying your workout shoes. This entirely removes that overwhelming, heavy feeling of starting a massive task. It teaches you the subtle art of simply showing up. Because think about it, you cannot optimize a habit that doesn't exist yet. You absolutely have to establish it first, even if it's in a tiny 2-minute form. Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, the secret to lasting success. Let's circle right back to the title of the book itself. Just as atoms are the basic fundamental building blocks of molecules, these small 2-minute stacked habits are the fundamental building blocks of remarkable, lifelong results. Sure, they seem insignificant on their own, but they are vital components of a massive system of compound growth. They are small, but man, they are mighty. Remember, real, true, long-term thinking is actually goal-less thinking. It's a commitment to an endless process of continuous refinement. If you're struggling right now, it is not because you lack willpower or because you are somehow incapable of change. Not at all. It is simply because your system is poorly designed. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If you just design an environment where good habits are the default, you're going to find that progress just naturally follows. The tools are completely in your hands now to redesign your routines from the ground up. You know exactly how to make your habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. So I want to leave you with this one final, crucial question. What tiny atomic habit will you cast a vote for today to build the system of your future? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to go make that 1% change right now.